US dollar versus the Polish zloty. First off, read this disclaimer carefully and do your good deed of today by liking and subscribing. So we do have the US dollar, Polish zloty here. US dollar is the base. 8% from the low, minus 1.7-ish% here from the 52-week highs. So let's start by jumping right into the charts. So this is weekly data points. I did find time cycles. They have been somewhat reliable, but it's not been perfect. You see that here we have these smaller time cycles, but then all of a sudden with this time cycle it actually was a bit longer. So the time cycles, they have a tendency here to change a bit over time. So it could be that we are now in now going to experience some of these larger time cycles. But even if we do take this large time cycle here as the projection, it suggests that there could be a rising phase developing. Looking at the seasonality over the last 5 years, September is a rather strong month here for the US dollar in this pair. Over the last 10 years, August, September, October tend to be favorable to the US dollar. The last 20 years, August, September, October, November, December, we do see a clear weakening. So that is something we just have to be aware of. It's especially in October, November, and December that you see that deterioration. So if we zoom in a bit here, let's go actually to the daily data points, because we do have some smaller time cycles here as well. So approximately something like this, it captures a reasonable amount of price action. It does suggest that, and you do see that these time cycles, at least recently, they have been pretty good at calling price action, suggesting that there could be some decline actually here heading into September, mid-ish September. Looking here at, the PPO, we have been higher in the past. RSI, we have also been higher, but we are in a territory that also has triggered multiple pullbacks. And you see here, that it's very common for this pair to have a rally and a pullback, rally and, a pullback. The key fail level is around here. So this is, a key level to watch. So let's draw that in like that. So yeah, we could go a bit higher. If we were to break out above that resistance level, that would obviously be, bullish momentum. Yeah, so far, given, that we are towards the later part of August, maybe the bulls are going to push it a bit, but the seasonality is not favorable to a sustained breakout, because the key thing about the breakout is to, establish yourself above the breakout level. And the current setup is not that favorable to that. So yeah, so the signals are a little bit mixed, but the interesting thing here nonetheless about this pair is that it is highly tradable because of these cycles. So you can be long, you can be short, and when you have it as a part of an overall portfolio, then it does have a nice effect. Because long term, there's a minus 28% negative correlation with the S&P 500. Looking at the short term correlation, it is almost identical. So this is really interesting as part of that broad portfolio component. Now, well, as a component of a broader market neutral portfolio. Okay. So let's compare USA and Poland a bit, and let's go down here to economics. So here is some demographics. Obviously, there's a huge size difference here between these countries. So here is population growth rate. You see that it is positive for the USA, negative for Poland. The thing is that, the primary dogma in the current economic regime is that we absolutely must have growth. If you don't have growth, then things are just horrible. But that doesn't make any sense, because we live on a planet where the amount of resources, natural resources, is limited. Infinite growth, human population growth on a resource-limited planet obviously doesn't make sense. So we do need a new economic system that is not dependent on population growth. Because we currently do have a massive disaster in the animal kingdom. So between 70 to 200 species go extinct every single day. Around 10,000 species go extinct every year, and that is primarily due to human activity. And that activity is our completely uncontrolled population growth. So yes, there are certainly economists that look at this negative number and are like, oh no, disaster for Poland. And the same thing with, Japan. Japan is also a big topic when it comes to population growth, but we have to ask ourselves the question, is the number of resources on our planet limited? Yes. Can we have infinite growth in that context? No, obviously, because that would essentially be a Ponzi scheme. So yeah, this is a bit of a digression, but this is an extremely important topic. The most valuable thing we can do for our planet is not to get electric cars, it's not to have a bunch of windmills. The number one thing that would have the biggest effect is actually to get, some realistic appreciation of the basic just realities of our planet. Then the amount of resources is limited. And that is just the reality. And the very idea that we are just going to solve our problems by traveling to Mars and, colonize space, that doesn't make any sense, that we're going to travel into space. I mean, if we are not able to protect and make the natural world on our own planet sustainable, then it would be extreme hubris to imagine that we can create life on a different planet. That doesn't make sense. So yeah, it goes to show you how there are dogmas in all systems that can be very destructive, and it's very hard to see it if you don't go outside of the box.